Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode. And today we are looking at stakeholder management. One of the most important things that you will be doing and you must be doing as a senior executive, as a CEO, is stakeholder management. This is one of the most important things that you must get right. One of the most important things that you must consistently grow in as a business executive. Now, who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are individuals, groups of people, institutions, entities with an interest, direct interest or indirect interest in the operations of your business. That means anybody or any institution that is affected or can be affected by the operations of your business. Stakeholders can be internal or external to the business or the company. And they can include, for example, investors, employees, customers, suppliers, the community where you operate, government entities and regulating agencies, trade associations, employee unions, churches, schools, universities, any institution or individual that is directly or indirectly affected by your operations. Then stakeholder management is just that process of you carefully identifying who your stakeholders are, directly or indirectly, and then prioritizing these stakeholders and having strategies, actions in place on how you will engage these stakeholders effectively. Now, I'm using the word effectively because there are some stakeholders that if you don't engage them effectively, it can negatively affect your operations as a business. Now, stakeholder management requires strategic engagement, as I said earlier, and intentional effort to cultivate and nurture strong stakeholder relationships successfully. Now, what should you be doing as a good CEO when it concerns stakeholder management? Number one, I already said this in passing. Number one is identify your key stakeholders in your business environment and prioritize them based on influence and interest. Yes, not all stakeholders are the same. For example, you cannot, employees are internal stakeholders and they are very important. Without them, there is no business. You cannot carry out operations, you cannot serve customers. So, the same way that you manage employees as internal stakeholders is not the same way that you can manage, let me say, an organization where you do charitable donations. It's not the same way, right? Although all of them are important, but there is some level of influence that they command that is different, that directly affects the operations of your business. So you need to identify in your business environment who are the major stakeholders. Identify them, know their level of influence and their level of interest for your business. And one thing about influence is that some stakeholders' influence only happen during some seasons. For example, you know that the taxation department, the tax office, IRS, or whoever collect taxes in your country, there are some seasons that you need to meet their needs. You need to sort them out, right? It's a typical peak tax season. And that particular season, their influence is very powerful. So you need to sort them out that particular season. And when that season is over, their priority on your list of stakeholder engagement can drop down and you bring up different stakeholders and begin to manage and engage with them. So you need to be conscious about this. The next thing that you need to be doing here is you need to maintain a positive relationship with all stakeholders. Yes, all the stakeholders that you have identified, it is your responsibility as the face of the company, as the leader of the company, to maintain a positive relationship with all stakeholders. For example, you know that the police department, for example, they are your stakeholders. Yes, they are your stakeholders, right? And if you move to a new location, especially like in Africa, even anywhere, and to be as a good diplomat, because I believe that every business person should be a diplomat. As a good diplomat who understands diplomacy, I would encourage you to, you can get a bottle of wine, get a gift, and go visit the police chief. Introduce yourself. Also, I am new in the area, and this is my business. This is where we are located. Now, security is important in business operations. So that is the stakeholder that you have identified, and you are taking steps to maintain a good relationship with that particular stakeholder. Look at your stakeholder list. What can you do to maintain direct contact and a good relationship with all the major stakeholders as far as your business is concerned? The third thing you should be doing is foster a culture of responsibility towards stakeholders. Yes, every business has responsibility towards stakeholders. Towards your employees, your responsibility is to treat them well and to pay their salary on time. Towards customers, your responsibility is to serve them well, effectively, give them good customer service, customer buying experience, and make sure that what they are buying will solve the problem that they desire to solve with your product. That is your responsibility. Same for the government. The government, through their various departments, have regulations, standards that you must meet before you can operate that particular business in that sector. So it is your responsibility as the CEO to meet up to those regulations laid down by the government. So you need to pick out all the major stakeholders as far as your business is concerned and ask yourself, what responsibilities do I have towards this particular stakeholder? Then you take steps as the leader of that business, as the business owner, to meet those responsibilities. Because there are some stakeholders that if you don't meet up the responsibility, they can shut you down. If you don't meet up the right regulations, your government can shut you down. If you don't meet up with the responsibility of paying taxes, the tax department can shut you down or cause you problems, right? So you need to identify these responsibilities and meet up with them. The next thing you should be doing as the CEO here is to ensure that you have strategies in place to create value for your stakeholders. For example, investors. What value do you create for investors? Make sure that the money they have invested is generating dividends. Simple as that. Generating more money for them. So it is your responsibility as the business leader to make sure that you have marketing strategies, sales strategies, and business growth strategies that can enable the company to make more money so it can pay dividends to your investors. So have strategies in place. For example, let's go back to the tax people. They are your stakeholders. Now you can decide and have an action plan with your accountant, with your finance person or tax person, and you write a policy. The policy of this company from today states that we will always pay our taxes 10 days before the final deadline. That is a strategy, that is a policy. And you design these policies, these strategies, and ensure that they are implemented so you can create value and meet up with your responsibility as far as your stakeholders are concerned. The next is engage with your stakeholders to understand their concerns and expectations. Yes, all stakeholders have concerns and expectations. Employees have concerns and expectations. Talk to them, engage with them, understand their worries and their expectations. Customers have expectations and concerns and feedback. Engage with them. Form a focus group. Create a survey. Send to them and let them feel. Ask them questions. But you must engage with them. Engage with your government or regulating agency. Sometimes every year, some agencies and government departments change policies and upgrade policies. You need to engage with them and begin to know what are the latest policies. That's your responsibility. So engage with your stakeholders as much as possible to understand their concerns and what they expect from you as far as your business operations is concerned. Because without you understanding these concerns and expectations, you will not really know what to do, and it can lead to problems, right? The next thing is implement effective communication mechanisms to gather stakeholder feedback. There is no way you can really engage and manage stakeholders without proper communication. Not only communication, but transparent communication. Have a clear way that you effectively communicate with your employees. Have a clear way that you communicate with customers, with uh, uh, suppliers, with investors, with government agencies, whatever, but establish effective communication mechanisms. Know, have a way, have a blueprint, have that process that you can reach out to any stakeholder anytime you need to talk to them or engage with them. Very important. The next is implement strategies to manage stakeholder conflicts. As far as relationships are concerned, there will be conflicts. What if there are conflicts? How will you manage conflicts? What if you have conflicts between management and employees, employee customers, the business and the government? You need to have plans in place, strategies in place, anticipate what are the possible conflicts that can arise from this particular stakeholder relationship. What are the conflicts that can arise between you and your investors? Then you design strategies and policies to act when the conflicts start happening. Don't wait. I prefer you anticipate and then a conflict arises that you did not anticipate. And even if that happens, you already have a mindset to solve conflicts. You already have the experience on how you're going to approach the conflicts because you have been designing strategies and policies on how to manage stakeholder conflicts. Lastly, very important, regularly report on company's performance to your stakeholders. There are some core stakeholders in your stakeholder list, stakeholder matrix that you must regularly report to them. Example could be investors, your board of directors, the tax department, who and anybody that you feel that you need to submit some report to them. It could be financial report, operational report, public engagement report, whatever kind of report that they need. You need to have a step-by-step process that you regularly report on the company performance to these stakeholders. I hope that you learned a couple of things, and I'll encourage you, don't leave this to chance. In my experience as a business trainer and consultant, many businesses don't intentionally pay attention to stakeholder engagement and management. But this should be a very important piece in your leadership as a CEO. When your business is even growing, you can even recruit a programs officer or a staff whose responsibility is to manage all your stakeholders, because there's a way that you can grow that you will need to be interacting with various stakeholders on a daily basis, communicating with them and directing them to the various departments when they have particular questions. Keep building that dream, and remember, you're rare, you're remarkable. Cheers.